All right, what's up, guys? How you doing?
Hey, Brandon, how you doing? Very
Hey,
good.
Brandon.
Pretty good. It's been a while.
Yeah,
Hope you guys have been doing well. And we've been last couple calls that I did was with some practitioners and sharing the kind of
yeah,
amazing stories about quantify and Theraphi use around the world. And yeah, I thought it would be a good opportunity to sit down and kind of talk about the new website. Obviously, that's super exciting with the rebrand, and just wanted to kind of get your thoughts and feelings and the inspiration behind the rebrand and everything.
sure. Yeah. Well, the name Phitality, actually, Kelly came up with that name a while back, and we've been sitting on it for a while. And
That's true. Has been a while.
yeah, so it's the perfect opportunity. We didn't know if we wanted to use it as a brand or as a product or something like that. So we just kind of been sitting on it for a bit. But then when you guys started rebuilding the website, and I said, yeah, let's just stick a new name on it and have a new global title of Vitality that can incorporate and be the overarching brand for all these products. So many things on the bench over the last 10 years that just been getting put to the back burner. I get started on them and then get busy with all the other things and keeping up with Therapy. And that was, a big part of how we kind of got together. And you said, hey, I can help you out and hopefully get you back
That's right.
to back to the bench, get some of these things out there.
Which
So
is awesome.
yeah,
We
Yeah.
need that.
this
And
is what we're doing. Yeah.
And that's the thing. I mean, most people like you're so well known and with working with plasma and Tesla type technologies with Therify and Quantify, they don't realize like how many other ideas you have that I think are kind of game changing and not to be parabolic or anything, but literally never been invented before. Like we'll
Right.
get into maybe later in the conversation if you're open to it. So yeah, so has this been something that just spur of the moment, or have you guys been thinking about this for a long time? Because I know you've had a lot of ideas and a lot of concepts that you wanted to bring to reality, but you've been so busy with building Therafies and getting them and sharing them with the world. Yeah, I'm just kind of curious more about like what your line of thinking is, and what's kind of on the bench. Like, is there anything that you can talk about that is exciting and new in your world with inventions?
Yeah. Yeah. Like for instance, well, the AD03, which is the going to be the new sensor for detecting these type of fields, is the first one off the bench now. And the whole idea of vitality is basically, phi being um, just a ratio that represents everything in nature and how nature most efficiently builds and evolves. And so Callie had put together
And phi
the
also for,
vitality as well. So,
yeah, well, phi also is ultimately about, I like this word about it, beauty.
yeah,
It's about a perfection, a divine perfection and a beauty that when you are around nature, things that are built in phi ratio, the golden mean, you feel the essence of beauty. And
Absolutely.
that
Yeah.
that really is, for me, anyways, that's why phi was important at the beginning of this. It's like if we aren't building something that's of beauty, giving beauty and grace and all of that, then what's the point? You
Right.
know,
well,
Yeah.
Callie wrote. You can read what you wrote about the vitality, and it's. I think that's a good
Ah,
summary.
okay. Well, yeah, actually, and I think this went out in one of our communications. I need to take the glasses off to read. Um, Phi is the divine design of the beauty of nature. This can be witnessed all over the natural world and within all living things. This was something that your team actually added to Brandon, which I greatly appreciate. Mentality is the suffix that describes the combination of every great life experience one can witness, felt at once. It is the simultaneous awakening of one's mental, spiritual, and physical state expressed in one word. And how you wrote this as your team together, Vitality is living your life in its fullest potential in harmony with nature, becoming an optimized human being. And so those added words that you added in as a team, and I think that was Natalie that did that,
Hmm.
is perfect. It's like, you know, it's the beauty, the divine design, and then everything all together. Tality, it's like that wholeness.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like back to what Paul's talking about regarding the kinds of products, because it's not even, I mean, the things that Paul's have been involved in over the years even goes beyond into the energy, like oil and gas, where some of his patents are, and all of this. So
Right.
it's much broader.
Yeah.
And we rarely speak about all of that, but there is a wholeness to our approach to how we look at things.
Right. And I think, yeah, that's a good example of that is like when, like the event you have coming up with the Alchemy of Prague. I mean, you're going into the alchemy, you're going to like making your
Right.
own medicines. You're like actually looking at this in a holistic way. It's not just about electrotherapy devices or energy or health and wellness. So yeah, that's an awesome
There's our
event
little
for anybody who's
brochure.
interested. It's just kind of, you're in old school Czech
Yeah.
Republic, and I've seen some of the photos. I've never been myself, but he showed me some of the photos last year, and I was just like, "This is amazing." It's like old school alchemical feel.
Yeah.
Where were you doing that actually? It was in some
In
historically significant
Yeah,
place, right?
in Edward Kelly's, who Edward
It's
Kelly's
awesome.
Tower.
Yeah.
He was, of course, John Dee's sidekick, right-hand man. And when John Dee and Edward Kelly went from London to Prague, and they showed before the Emperor Rudolph II transmutation of an iron pot lid. They just cracked a cast iron pot, took the chunk out of it, transmuted it into gold, and then they took the rest of the lid, so you could see that the piece fit in, and they sent them both back to Queen Elizabeth I, who John Dee was her royal court astrologer and seer guy. So
And of course, Prague
it's
is
magical.
a city of beauty. I
Yeah.
mean, it is very, I would call it, has a very feminine feel to it. It was one of the cities that through the wars and everything has not been destroyed. So a lot of it is in its original design, and it just has a beautiful feel. And this is not our first time. It's not our first rodeo there.
Right.
This is like our fifth or sixth time
Yeah.
that we've taught in Prague.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
So we've
become
done
an
it
annual thing,
several.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we've done it quite a few times, and to Paul's credit here, I mean, he's really trying to keep the old ways of alchemy alive by doing this. So in a way, it's a bit of a privilege to come and participate, just because it's so
Yeah.
rare that it's being done.
Yeah, there's not a lot of people out there. I mean, it's
No,
problem with alchemy and the internet these days is it's a
Yeah.
gong show. I mean,
yeah,
that you don't, if you want to research alchemy, avoid the internet. There's a couple good sites and a couple good alchemists, that have done things out there, but oh, for the most part, all this forums and social media and people's misunderstandings, and it gets repeated and it gets integrated into AI, and it's just a downward spiral.
You
yeah.
mean we can't learn alchemy from AI?
Right. No, yeah. That's one thing. So that's where it ties back to the vitality. It's a holistic nature-based thing, and AI is a square box with people's, concepts. They're like, um,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't want to use the word egregores, but that's kind of what it has come to be, where it takes on an intelligence of its own or a personality persona of its own, and unfortunately it takes the worst of, because that's what is out there in the social media. So it's an issue with AI, and alchemy in essence is really we're understanding nature and working in harmony with nature and doing the internal process to do conscious evolution. So it's not an external thing that you're going to get from a systematic robot kind of thing. It's something you have
Which
to
will never
do
be conscious.
internally. Yeah.
I mean,
And this is part of the
it's
conscious evolution that
hilarious.
we're going through right now, and the great all the chaos and everything that's happening is a big part of it as we transition to one phase to to the new phase, like we've been promised this golden age again, and we've seen it happen before, and we go through these cycles, and now seems pretty chaotic and bumpy in that, but it's really, that's what Theraphi really is, and Phitality really is empowering individuals to make that conscious evolution and understanding of personal internal understanding. And this is what all the ancients were doing. It's what Taoism is about, is it's what, you know, the Vedas, everything around the world. It was all, you get this macro cosmic conception of the large scale through the microcosmic internal processes. And the more you can develop that inner vision, then the wider you can see, and anywhere you can go, and the infinite possibilities that we have as, because we're infinite beings capable of so much, but we're kind of stuck in this little domain of our five senses and our perceptions. But alchemy
Totally.
and Theraphi itself and all the things that I've been working on are just part of that conscious evolution, and opening those things up. And it's the same with the energy sector. So the first thing you need is your health. If you don't have your health, what do you have, right? So
Right.
that's always been my key focus through phytochemical plant medicines, mushrooms, alchemy, processing. How do we make the energetic properties of all these natural medicines the most powerful that we can to fortify the physical? And then also in the alchemy sense, they work on the mental and the emotional and spiritual planes as well, because they're exalted products. So very fine, refined essences. And then once you've constituted and fortified your body, so you have the health to sustain yourself, then what's the next best big thing on this planet? Well, it's energy, because it's energy that keeps us tied in the system that we're in, and we are, you know, slaves to that system. We have to, you know, work and put a lot of energy into making energy to make things happen. But so ultimately, we know that in this, you know, infinite cosmos, we live in an infinite sea of energy, and you know, you call it cosmic background microwave radiation, call it 0 point energy, call it free energy. You know, that term really has been bantered around a lot, but you know, we know that there's this vacuum flux background in the universe, and being able to harness that, and that was ultimately what Tesla was doing. Of course, Theraphi is all based on Tesla's technologies and Tesla's idea. So it just all falls in line together, and it's amazing how these things just overlap.
Yeah, absolutely. Because most people on the surface level, they think of spagyrics or just some minute aspect or fraction of alchemy, but they don't really understand that it's like it is an internal process, like you're saying. It's a living thing, and we're just using these tools to help us. Basically, like the consciousness, the body itself is the only thing that can actually do anything. And we can send signals and we can influence and we can have these external, you know, um, tools that we can use. But in the end of the day, you have to kind of do the work. And that's kind of a little bit of a limitation I see in like the biohacking movement, which has a lot of great things going about it. It's just a lot of people get into this mindset of like, if I just lay on this thing and zap this at my body and like shine this thing on my eyes at this time of day and like try and get to regimented, which is great. It's great to have structure and great to have like coherence and thought as far as like I'm going on this trajectory and these are the things I'm going to stack and do. However, that's not the stuff that's actually doing it. Your body is actually doing the work. Your consciousness and how your mind develops and how you think is actually that's the alchemical underlying process that I think you're speaking to, if I'm paraphrasing it correctly, right?
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, and
It's an inside job.
yeah,
All things are.
yeah,
You
Yeah.
know,
yeah.
any time that we become too dependent on something outside of ourselves, um, therein lies the crux of where, you know, you're not true to self. You
Yeah.
know,
It's
the
true.
whole idea is to know thyself.
But it's yeah, and then it could be argued, we're obviously we need nature, we need air, we need food, we need sustenance, all the stuff. We do need like external and internal are always balanced, but I think a lot of
The
the emphasis
harmony.
is put on the external for external only, like this kind of
Yeah.
atomist kind of physicality, materialist mindset. It's
Yeah.
pervasive in science and natural health and wellness. And look at the blood work. That's all there is. That's all we care about. And like, really, there's these aspects that are intangible that are very real, like your dreams and all these kind of aspects of our consciousness and being that you can't like stamp and put under a microscope and crystallize and hold still. It's a living, breathing thing that you have to interact with feelings and all these other kind of emotional, mental, spiritual aspects of our being and who we are, like our full spectrum self, not just our physicality. So I think that's
Yeah.
really cool that you're like teaching that and trying to bring wisdom into a space that's been, like you're saying, convoluted. I mean, herbalism's been convoluted, all these kind of
Right.
things online where people are teaching these kind of half truths or not truths about how things work, how the body works, the physiology,
Right.
ancient
Ex-
traditions and practices. It's just like Qigong is another one. It's just like so many people are like they're doing good things, but like they don't really understand the
the
people used to train
principle.
with a master, like you lived
Right.
in with them. You got this osmotic kind of like
Right.
it's not physical, it's not the words coming out of their mouth, it's not just watching them, it's just being in their presence would tune your body and your
Right.
nervous system and your brain. And like I don't know, it's pretty it goes we could go way down the rabbit hole on
Yeah.
all that, but I appreciate everything you're doing with trying to, you know, keep the practice of
Another
alchemy
time.
alive. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
tell me about this little meter thing that you just held up.
Yeah.
That looks like a super small.
So yeah, the AD03 basically it is a little sensor. It's designed to cancel out the B field. So it's a really unique way of measuring different aspects of electricity, as in what the Theraphi is producing. It can measure the field. So a lot of people have asked over the years, how do we measure these fields? And how do we know it's a longitudinal waveform? That scalar can it be measured? Everybody's, oh, it can't be measured and all that. So this gets us a step closer. And it has a little BNC connector on it. And basically you can hook it up. What you do is you're measuring a very small DC voltage off of it, and it's in the matter of millivolts. And it's really interesting because it's very sensitive. You could have it in a room, and we talk about the Theraphi conditioning the space, and this can prove it. So that's one of the unique things about it. And when you go into a certain space that's highly charged, like here in the yurt or in where the Theraphi room is, and that you can see a charge. So it'll read, 200 or so, 200 millivolts of DC that's just coming up on the meter. And it's so sensitive that you can be standing away from it and raise your arm, and you can see a change in that voltage just by you changing the structure in the field that is in the surrounding space. So I've
Wow.
been out in the garden measuring plants and waterfalls and things like that. It's bioenergetic. Like if you're a qigong or a heavy meditator, you do energy cultivation, and that you can measure that with it, and you can actually hold it and put your intentions, or you can force your chi at it, and you can measure that, which is really neat.
Wow.
Um,
So when you mentioned that you wanted to talk about this, it got me thinking about the human biofield, like being far away from it and waving your hand in the air and affecting it. And it got me thinking, I was like, we talk about subtle energy and biofield, but the body is like crazy powerful. If you think about all the millivolts that make up each cell and then how many volts are actually in the body, we're like a high voltage
yeah.
machine, if you think of it that way. I mean, we can,
Exactly.
I forget the exact number, but people
Every,
have talked about how like
Billions.
right.
how many
Yeah.
volts are
Every
in a
cell in
lightning
your
bolt,
body. Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And that's part of how Theraphi works itself too, is increasing that charge inside of the cells, and the way it affects the water. And the water is important for all the transport and everything like that. But on the layers of the cells, if you look at Gerald Pollack's book, for instance, the fourth phase of water, he talks about easy water and the exclusion zone.
hmm
And that exclusion zone is layers of water that form like hexagonal patterns where it recrystallizes into these thin sheets similar to graphene, and they overlap. And
hmm
they can essentially a battery. So they're like part of the battery on the charge on the cell membrane. And if you think about how Theraphi works, and pushing little microcurrents through your body. Well, every cell in your body is responding to those microcurrents and
Yep.
absorbing that energy. So therefore, building that easy zone, that exclusion layer to build up the charge within the cell.
Yeah.
And
Like a
we know that,
capacitor. Yeah.
yeah, just like a
Right.
capacitor, because every cell is, and we know through work like Stan Tenen and stuff like that, showing that the voltage and then when the power is reduced on the cell and goes into opposite polarity, and that then the cell becomes corrupted and becomes cancerous or whatever. So yeah, this
And low
is,
voltage. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. So this is a good way to see how that charge field is in the surrounding area. Now, it's not necessarily a measurement of, I mean, it's a brand new product, so we still haven't quantified it just yet on exactly what it's measuring, how it's measuring it. It's very unique because it shouldn't measure anything. It should read zero. So it's a unique circuit that just kind of defies electrical theory, and that's why I think it's really good for observing some of these fields. But it'll also see some fields from any kind of neon sign or plasma bulb or whatever.
Fluorescent
It's,
lighting, stuff like
yeah,
that.
fluorescent lights will
Yeah.
show up on it. Yeah, that kind of thing. So it's not necessarily a reading of, oh, this is good for you, because you wouldn't want to lay next to fluorescent lights or some other kind of plasma devices that are, going to have more incoherence in that.
Yeah. It's not an indicator of coherence versus incoherence or anything
Right.
like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
It's more about the field around it. So it's been great for testing things. So what I'm hoping to do is have some of these available here pretty quick, and we'll get them up on the website. It'll be one of the first products we add to Vitality.
That's cool. And so just going back a little bit, you mentioned the B field. Like for people that don't know about the E field and the B field, can
All
you
right.
explain that a little bit more? And is it
Yeah.
actually measuring like voltage specifically, or is it kind of like,
Yeah.
because you're kind of talking about subtle energy fields on one level, and then one level you're talking about electrostatics and kind of like voltage charge. So can you
Yeah.
like clarify that a little
Yeah.
bit?
So the B field is the magnetic component. So, according to the right hand rule, when you have conductors that are going in a spiral, of course, it'll make a magnetic field and the current moves this way.
Right.
And that creates this magnetic field when electricity moves. And it's designed to cancel that magnetic component to it. So it's not really looking at a electromagnetic field. It has to do with the electrostatics to some extent, but it could very well be down to, because what's unique in the Theraphi, we've shown this a million times. You're putting the fluorescent light on the table,
Right.
and then it's creating, Tesla coils naturally create a longitudinal wave because they're air core transformer, so there's no metal in there to inhibit anything, and it's a free resonating coil. And when you do that, it couples with the ether. So this is why I call it the etherodynamometer. So where does electricity come from? Well, in an electromagnetic generator at Niagara Falls that Tesla built, it's spinning, rotating magnets through wires against the magnetic field, and that churning up of the ether is where the electricity is manifesting. When you ask somebody, a physics professor, how does electricity made? That's the explanation they're going to give you, but that's not the where it comes from. That's how it comes about, right?
Right.
This is how we can tap it. But what that is doing is creating that magnetic field is causing the twists in the ether, torsion in the ether, and the electricity is propagated from that. It follows the wires like waveguides. It's not really electrons jumping down the wires like they
Yep.
teach as well.
Exactly.
Then it gets delivered to its endpoint, and then it gets used, and then it goes back into the ether. So the other thing about the second law of thermodynamics is like, okay, after the electricity is manifested and goes somewhere, then where does it go? Well, they never talk
Yeah.
about it just goes off. Well, it goes off in photons is what they say. Yeah, it's all emitted into photons. Where do the photons go? Well, eventually it puts that space charge back into the ether, and then you have to churn it again to do it. So this is sort of the etherodynamometer is based on that concept where it's measuring the torsion fields in the ether is probably the best way to.
So you're actually measuring the reaction or the hysteresis of the medium itself and not the actual magnetic or electric field
Yeah,
acting as a manifest of that potential, right?
right. Yeah, yeah,
Wow.
exactly. Because that's the
That's
medium.
never
And
been done before, Paul.
no,
Like
no, no. Yeah,
like
yeah.
I was saying earlier, I'm not trying to be like parabolic, but man, like that has never been made before.
I mean, the Russians have done
Insane.
a lot of experiments. I read a lot of stuff. Well, what's crazy is in the old days, like that's where this torsion fields and the Russians call it spintronics.
Spintronics, yeah.
So spintronics was, a really big thing. They looked a lot into this, even just taking two discs and having physical discs spinning really fast. It produces what we call strange radiation, strange energies can come
Yep.
off of. Then you take two discs and you have one counter rotating and the other one, and then you make it up of special materials, and really strange things can happen. And this stuff used to be online. This is another good example of
Scrubbed, totally
the internet
scrubbed.
going bad. But yeah,
Yeah.
there was so much Russian research, and I still have all those old files. So these concepts they come from the Russians, who've always been light years ahead of us on understanding all this
Yeah.
kind of
And you can't even find any of the stuff with the those mirror reflectors where time polarization, time reverse, like they did a
cozy
lot of
rev.
research like way
Yeah,
back
Nikolai
on
Cozy Rev, the Cozy
Kozarev.
Rev
Yep.
stuff, all of that stuff, and cold fusion, of course, ball lightning, all those things. The Russians were, so far ahead of us.
Yeah. I think I can't remember the book you recommended that I read that was talking about ball lightning. That's just seeing all those old, 1800s like sketches of ball lightning. Like it's been a phenomenon. It's been around forever.
Yeah,
Like nobody talks about like these
no,
cold plasma balls that, obviously they can discharge and like zap a fence post and burn it or whatever, but it's just crazy. Like, because a lot of people I think assume that all of this is just AI generated like graphics and any of
right.
these images that have captured
And
it in
they are,
modern
they
times.
are. If you Google that
A
right
lot of
now,
them.
it's frustrating because there's
Yeah.
like all this, it goes out on Facebook or whatever, and they're like, look, it's a ball of lightning. And then you find out, oh no, it's all AI
A lot of
generated.
it is fake. I'm just saying the
But
phenomenon's been around long
there
before.
was.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you see the recent one? There was one right here in Canada. And there
Uh-uh.
was these farmers, they were out in their field. It's pouring rain. It's a lightning storm. They look out in the field and it was on the news even. And they go, look at that. And there's this giant ball just appears in their field, like must have been about 6, 8 meters in diameter. It was huge, like the size of a sea can, and it starts glowing and pulsing. And they got their camera, they caught it on the camera, and then it collapses and it collapses, boom, and it goes down into three other plasmoid balls. And so it splits into three, and the three kind of zip around and then poof, disappear. And yeah,
So
so
I know
yeah,
people are thinking right now,
yeah,
okay, let's
I
say
don't
it's a
know.
natural phenomenon. Like
Yeah,
what is your idea behind like how that manifests if it's not some kind of
right.
experimental technology in modern times where they're playing with, field
Mm.
effects and stuff like that? Like what is your idea on that?
Well, that's been the hardest part is like it's been such a strange phenomenon. Science has kind of denied it over all these years, but then it became a thing a while back where scientists were able to recreate ball lightning in the laboratory. And how easy it is to do? Well, just take anybody can do this. You can do this at home if you have an old microwave and you're willing to sacrifice it, perhaps. But you just take a lit match or a candle or something, you put it in your microwave and put a thick Pyrex bowl over top of it and turn it on. Well, the ionization that's in that candle fed by the microwaves will instantly turn into a ball lightning that will float around inside of the glass, and it's extremely powerful and extremely destructive, so it will eventually eat through the wall of your microwave if you leave it on long enough,
So don't try this
shatter
at
the
home.
glass
Don't try
cell.
this at home, kids.
No, don't try this at home.
Yeah, but that's how I really got into this stuff in the early days, was playing with old microwaves. I mean, I used to collect them and yeah, take them apart and build all kinds of reactors out of them on the inside. And what happens is it's condensing matter essentially. So as you're feeding in that microwave energy, so just think of on the Earth, the Earth is a pole itself, and the atmosphere is the other pole. So that you have a huge potential of charge, and that's
Right.
why we get lightning and everything coming out.
Yeah.
Well, if conditions are just right, and it can produce a phase conjugate waveform between the sky and the earth. And when the energy bounces down and bounces back up, you can get a node. And these are like the harmonic nodes that you see in the compression and rarefaction through
Yep.
the fluorescent tube in the Theraphi, right? Well, picture that where a node gets produced between the wave bouncing back and forth, and it starts to condense into this charge. And that charge cluster basically is this ball, which is a conglomeration of many plasmoids all coming together. And they're condensing and they form into toroidal fields that build and build and build and condense the matter. And so when it does, it's got so much energy, of course, it's emitting photonic emission. That's what you're seeing is this light. But it's a charge clusters that are building and condensing. So there's been
Mm.
stories of people seeing a ball of lightning come and it floats around and it can travel through your window, and
Yep.
because it can go through matter, because basically it finds its way through the harmonics and the nodes of the atomic structures and just comes out the other side
Non-destructively. I mean, there's aspects where,
non-destructively.
yeah,
Yeah, exactly. And then when they break up, there's been stories where a ball of lightning will break up and a bucket of water just suddenly appears on the floor. It's
that's
like,
wild.
okay, well, where did that water come from? Well, it was all condensed in the matter of that, energy form,
Wow.
or sand even. Like, yeah, yeah. So
Yeah, and then also there's the aspect where people over the years, hundreds of years, have talked about it seeming like it's conscious, like it will, interact with people and like
yeah,
play around and do different things. Like it's not just this random charge cluster that's moving around and then all of a sudden,
right.
I mean, I've never heard that about the water or the sand. That's far out.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Wild.
absolutely. Like it comes into the old lady's house and she picks up a broom and
Right.
says, "Get out, get out, get out," and starts chasing it, and it bounces out the door and goes at the door, right?
It
Yeah,
just brings
yeah,
a whole new level of complexity to the nature of consciousness and like this
yeah,
realm, reality, whatever you want to call it. It's like,
right. The other one I like is where it flies into an airplane and comes into the front of the airplane and then bounces down the aisle while everybody's sitting there, and it's just moving up and down
yeah.
slowly, and then zip goes out the back of the plane and it's gone.
Wow.
Yeah.
These are fun conversations. I just got to say, back to your meter.
Right.
So that just people are seeing this like little component, right? But that actually hooks up to like a
Yeah.
multimeter, or
Do you have the
what
rest
is
Yeah,
of
it?
it?
if you want,
Do you have
yeah,
the meter?
we can switch into the Theraphi room. We should actually show you what it does when it's in the field of the Theraphi, because
Oh
it's
yeah, a demo would be
That's
sweet.
the best
yeah,
demonstration.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Then you have the meter and everything with it.
So I can put it all together, and we'll take the computer over there and
Yeah,
check it
just
out.
I'll keep recording. Just take the
Yeah.
computer. Yeah, we'll do that.
Okay.
Cool.
We'll pause it there, and yeah, this'll be good. Yeah,
Yeah,
because it
get ready to
measures.
show up.
So I'm talking the millivolts that you see when you're using your hands and stuff like this. In the Theraphi, it measures 130 volts, not millivolts, 130 volts.
At how far? At how far?
Well, you can see it about 20 feet away. So yeah, this is the other thing where people are also talking about how
At
far. Maybe
130
that's
volts?
no, not that high, but when you're right up there, it's
Oh,
130
okay.
volts. But
Right on it.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Gotcha.
but you can detect it 20 feet away. So
Interesting. So what's the translation? Is there just a loss? Like, because obviously the air core transformer, the Tesla coil itself has a potential of like 500,000 volts or something like that. I mean,
yeah,
is it that it resonates through the wires and goes through the plasma and then it's dampened at the level of where the sensor is?
yeah, and well, and that's the other thing is it shows up in the counter space. So that was the part that made me go, ooh, because you can take an electromagnetic field meter and there's nothing in the counter space, but then this does show the counter space. So that's the neat part about it. So
When
yeah,
usually when voltage kind of, yeah, we could talk about it. Let's go check it out.
this is my new baby.
I might just leave this in the video. This is like cool. Your shop is awesome. It looks like a legit inventor's workshop.
Yeah, it's just
Where do you
crazy.
think the banana plugs are?
They might be in here. See if we can set this here. Wow.
Oh, the Theraphi
Oh
room.
yeah. Yeah.
So we
Okay,
got
so
it.
we'll fire this up. Yeah. So we can see it.
Can you see it well enough?
Phitality.
Phitality. Nice.
Okay, so this is the meter. That's basically it's a really interesting meter because it has a multimeter, an oscilloscope, and a function generator. So it's got
This is the one you recommend, right?
yeah, yeah. And what we're doing is you saw the Phitality logo there. We're going to be able to include this particular meter, which has a two-channel oscilloscope and a function generator. Um,
So you can
and
see
mul-
waveforms as well in
yeah,
this.
yeah. And that's what you can also use the AD03 for that as well. So right now we'll look at the voltage and we're on DC volts, so it's not plugged in yet. So
Right.
we're at 0. And this shows up in the millivolt range because it's very a small amount of charge that gets interpreted to. But instantly when I plug it in here, it's at 173. And that's because normally you'd plug this in to when you're out. We plugged it in at the hotel when we were in Japan and it was like 0. And so in here, just the ambient charge right now, I don't know what the red. Oh no, it's the battery.
Low
Okay.
battery.
Yeah, low battery. I'll get another meter.
Do you want me to go?
So that you're seeing 200 millivolts of charge, but that's just because of the space. Because we run the Theraphi in here all the time, this space just has that natural charge. So you can see the conditioning of the space in here.
So
And because, and you also saw that when I move it, it changes too. So if you picture the charge clusters that are distributed in this room that are making the conditioned space, you're moving through those clusters.
right.
And it's that movement, and that's how the ether is structured as well. So you know, the Michelson-Morley experiment, well, they know we could just use the 8003.
Yeah, I mean
Uh,
that's the that and then you can probably get hot spots. So you're saying so from what you've seen and tested and played with, like how long does a residual charge happen after like let's say 30 minutes of Theraphi use? If a Theraphi is in a space for 30 minutes, and does it have a compounding effect over time? Meaning if you use it, will the field
yeah,
grow past the walls, past, will it become
that's
bigger
right.
over time?
It does. It compounds over time. It expands further, and it lasts for a long time. I mean, well, we had this running yesterday, probably about 1 o'clock. So 24 hours ago, it's
Yeah, I had a
still detecting.
client in here for an hour, so.
Yeah. So that was the last session in here, but
But it'll go for maybe like a week, like after one, it'll
oh yeah,
congestion into the space for like a week.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And we've, seen that in high condensed conditions if you can create enough plasmoids and then charge up metal in such a way that it sticks to the metal and stays around the metal fields too. That's the other thing I use that for, like when Bob Greenier and I did that Hutchison effect experiment, the metal bars like that aluminum trussing for the light stands, it's all welded together aluminum, but the charge was stuck to the closest face of the where all the Theraphi tubes were. So you could measure it and you could feel it, and those charge clusters are just stuck there, and they
Wow.
are closer to that. So this is a really going to be a really good tool for measuring the differences in that.
So this would, if let's say you don't have a Therify or a Quantify, you could go to like sacred sites or places that like haunted places.
Yeah.
Paranormal investigators can use
I
this
I
for.
think yeah, I think all of those paranormal guys and everything will really get a charge out of this. No pun intended, but you you'll be able to do a lot of really sensitive things with this, as well as measuring,
Other devices.
qigong and things like that. Yeah.
So
Um,
with this coming with the that multimeter multi-tool thing, so that obviously you want to provide that because it has a lot of different functions on it. But is this compatible with any multimeter or any?
Yeah, it can be. Some are better than others. That's kind of why we recommend this one. I mean, yeah, you can put it into any oscilloscope or multimeter as long as you could. It's sensitive enough to measure very low voltage in the DC voltage in the millivolts.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
it's hard to
But
find.
both of these ones are brand new, so they're not even charged yet. So I'm gonna just grab the other one. There's one more.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, here we go. All right, so we'll plug it in. Yeah, so you can see that's reading almost half a volt as I through uh, move through the field. Okay, so what we'll do then is we'll set this up and kind of show an example of the Theraphi on. And just to show the point, I'll start with the fluorescent tube so we can see it here. I wonder if it'll show up if I turn out the lights. Let's see. Theraphi on. Well, okay, just for an example, just to show you the light, and I'll see if I can tune around to get there we go. We can see the longitudinal waves going through there. So
Door shut.
It's kind of hard to see on my end, but
yeah, okay, I'll go a bit closer just to see if we can zoom into.
don't fry your computer.
Yeah, we can get. Woo. Anyway, okay, so now you're seeing those longitudinal waves moving from the end towards the center, and that's what it's designed to do. And what's interesting with a regular electromagnetic field meter is you can see the counter space because there's nothing there, and you'll see the EMF, towards each end, but in the counter space you don't see it. And this is what's unique about the AD03 is that you'll see it there. So now we'll just look at this voltage climb just from it being on. At this far back, I'm measuring 6.6 volts, 7 volts, and it's going up 8 volts. It's going up as these
Charge
charges
builds.
building in the room, right?
Yep.
So now if we go in towards the Theraphi, it's ramping up like crazy, exponentially. And so it's going to keeps clicking into new mode. So it was 120 volts DC. It measures there on the vid. So now it's 107, 108, 112, and then so see how I affect the field as well. So I don't know if we can. Actually,
It's hard to see the actual numbers from here,
okay,
but
let me zoom in on that now. I'll just zoom in on the meter so you can see the Theraphi is on. You should be able to zoom
I'm trying to like kind of help people wrap their brains around it because on one level you just think, oh, it's just voltage, but you're saying it's actually like a measurement of the response of the medium or the surrounding and like the counter
in.
space is
Yeah,
what you're saying.
because the way the circuit is designed, it produces a voltage based on a field that is canceled out. So
So there
Can you
should be
see
zero. It
that
should
out?
be saying zero all the time with the cancellation.
yeah, yeah,
Can you
exactly.
see it from your end, Brandon?
I think you
Okay.
should be able to see the
Do you want me
numbers
to
on
hold
there
it?
A
now.
little, yeah, I can see 140, it looks like.
Yeah, 140.
Yeah.
So
Can you
then
see-
what's interesting now, we move into that right into the counter space.
And that's over 200, 300.
Fine.
That's
Yeah, actually it dropped down.
Well, it kind of, well, that's now 900.
No, it's 9.2. Actually, it's gonna show me wrong here, but the other day I was getting the full voltage here in the center.
It's because we're recording.
Yeah, of course. But just the fact that, you can see that much of a charge in the ambient atmosphere all around here. And as you move it, so yeah, so I'll just put it on there where you can see it. And then, so I'll stand here. Now, if I move my arm, you can see it move on the meter. Like it's that sensitive just from me raising my arm
Can you do
nearby.
that like in not in the Theraphi field where it's just reading ambient readings from a room? You can
Yeah,
actually see your body.
yeah. Okay, so you hold this, and I'll stand here a little ways away. So now we're at out here. We just come this way a bit.
Pump some chi into it.
Yeah. Okay, that's what we're gonna do. So yeah. So if Callie holds it, 15, 16. You get going, you can put it up. But by
Oh
changing
yeah, it is. It's
17, there we
17. Yeah,
go.
it's
17.
building.
So
Huh.
there we climb 3 volts with just
Just the
and I'm
movement.
just
Wow.
like projecting energy into her hand. So
So just for
um
people who don't know about this, like for the regular standard multimeter, voltmeter, you wouldn't really be able to achieve that, basically.
right. You'll see millivolts off your skin. That's a
Sure.
galvanic skin response. But you won't say
But
the
not
see the
volts.
change.
Yeah.
Not yeah, but not and especially not into whole volts like that.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so now we're at 21, so 22, just keep
Dang.
pumping. And I'm just basically throwing energy at her, just like
So
yeah,
if she wasn't holding the tip of that, would it still pick up on it, or is she kind of being the anchor
yeah.
to the ground for it?
Okay. Well, yeah, try it from this end then. So here's this insulated end. Um, okay, it's gonna change. We'll let it stabilize. But yeah, no, I've had it going like this too, where you just throw it right at the antenna, basically three. You can almost see every
Two.
flick of the hand, right?
Yeah, it bounces around. Now it's two, 2.5. Yeah, it's definitely moving
Yeah,
up. Wow, it's
yeah.
wild.
So it's a lot of fun. I mean, you can do a lot of really neat experiments with it, especially measuring. Well, I don't know. You measure herbs and things. That's what I'm hoping, and it's open for experimentation, right? So
Yeah, it's we're still figuring this thing out because it reminds me of kind of like maybe like when Tesla had the idea of like alternating currents. It's like everything was like DC, and then he had this idea about like the inside out magnet where you have the dielectric reflectors, and it's basically like the dielectric and the magnetic was inverted, and he's able to create the alternating currents and stuff. You're actually measuring, you're canceling out, so you're measuring what's been canceled.
yeah.
Essentially, is that accurate or is that?
Yeah, I think so. So canceling out that the magnetic component, and then yeah, so it's seeing the E field plus a bit more. I don't know. Still open for exploration, but it's a unique circuit and it's highly sensitive, so it's great for measuring these kind of things.
Well, I wasn't expecting a full-on demo and all this stuff today. So I guess obviously people are going to wonder when is this going to be available? How can I get my hands on one? Obviously, we're going to put it on the website at some point. Are you close to
Right.
actually having these ready?
Yeah, well, I'm waiting for right now. I used up all the boxes, so there's a couple on the shelf right now. But I'm just waiting for a shipment of these. So we're producing them now. So they'll be available by the time people see this video. There might be a bit of a back order with the initial request, but we'll get you on the list. And yeah, we're pumping them out right now. So
Absolutely. That's awesome.
yeah.
Well, we showed them at Tesla Tech.
Yeah, and we were just at Tesla Tech too. That was a
Yeah, we took
great,
it
Right.
there.
great show. I was the keynote speaker on Friday night, and I was like halfway through my slideshow. It was getting to the end. They were like, "You got 80 minutes, and that's it. We cut you off mid-sentence." And it's like, so I was halfway through my slideshow, and John goes, "Well, I've seen his slideshow, and I think you guys probably want to stick around to see the rest, right?" And everybody's like, "Yeah." So we stayed late and got through the rest of the slideshow. It went really good, but it was overwhelming. People were just blown away by the Theraphi there. It was pretty good, pretty good.
Yeah. What everybody think about the new meter? I mean, that's got to be kind of,
Yeah, we're running around testing people's water and all kinds of stuff that was there. It was fun. Yeah.
Yeah, with the 3-prong thing.
Yeah. Yeah. There was a lot of neat people and neat. Good to see old friends and meet some new ones and that.
Awesome. So is there anything else on the bench that's exciting that you're pumped about?
Uh, well, I don't want to say too much about get people's hopes up too high because the one thing that I've been spending a lot of time on now is, yeah, it's just been a lot of work and it's really hard to find the components. Of course, everything that I build, you can't do this with off-the-shelf regular components that you get from, so you got to search all over. Russian stuff, I've been ordering parts from old Russian military pieces and things like that. So it's hard to get a lot of this stuff. So I don't want to give people too much hope, but there is some exciting things coming for
Cool.
sure.
Yeah, fair enough.
But
That's
I
awesome.
can't promise anything because it might just be a one-off. I mean, the thing that I'm creating right now, it's large. It's been fairly expensive
And
endeavor
heavy,
and heavy, and
extremely heavy.
it's taken me about a year to acquire all the parts for it. So
Wow.
unfortunately,
Needs a big heavy metal cart to be able to even
yeah, I'm
move it.
building a special cart to hold it up in the air, but yeah, we'll show
Wow.
it. Unfortunately, it's not going to be the kind of thing where we really be able to pump them out. So the idea is to, yeah, make a few toys that people can play with, and then some really special toys that we can do videos presentation with.
Well, that's exciting, man.
Yeah,
That's I can't wait to get my hands on one of those sensors and play with some
yeah,
stuff. Yeah,
yeah.
that's gonna be awesome.
We'll get them down
Um,
to you right away.
cool. Well, thanks for all your time. I know we went a little long today, but I really appreciate the demo. I think people are gonna love that, and excited to see that come to fruition. And yeah, is there anything else you want to close out and say?
Yeah, no, I think that's it. Just wait for some more exciting things like the ADO3. Oh, yeah, the name of it is the Aetherodynometer. ADO3 is
AD.
the
Cool.
model number.
Awesome. Well, you guys have a good one. We'll talk
Yeah.
to you next time.
All right. Thanks a
All
lot,
right.
Brandon.
Thanks,
Bye.
Brendan.
Take care.
Bye.